And then I heard them try the door. So
The Louis.
The weirdest noise go over ever.
That's one footprint that I've seen.
Take me back to old Yazoo. Everything up here is new. I can't stand it, just must land it.
Ads Ventures is a solo traveler living full-time in his camper van while documenting his experiences across Europe. From stealth camping in cities to exploring remote countryside truck stops, his channel showcases the highs and lows of life on the road. But during a recent overnight stay near Prague, that lifestyle took a dark turn. The night started like any other. Parked at a quiet motorway services outside the city, Ads settled in for what should have been a routine night. The location didn't feel particularly unsafe, just another stopover among many. Around 2 or 3 a.m., he was awoken in a haze, half asleep and not entirely sure why. Then he heard it.
So I originally rocked up to the previous services down the motorway and I started to go to bed as usual. In fact, it was a very nice, calm, relaxing evening until around about 3 a.m, maybe half 2, something like that. There I was dreaming the most beautiful dream, probably about pitterbreds and dolphins and all that. And I was awoken, half awoken, I was in a bit of a daze, by some voices that were literally about 2 centimetres away from my back door. Just to clarify, I mean the rear doors on the van. So I hit the button to turn my CCTV on, and what did I see? 2 hooded, semi-balaclavaed youths right next to the van, and they walked around to the side here. Now in my head I'm thinking, are they going to break into the Pigeon? Are they going to break into the Pigeon? By the way, for those who don't know, my van is called the Pigeon. And I got in my head to the part where I said, are they going to break into? And then I heard them try the door. So in my confused, half asleep state, I just shouted, "Pigeon!" At the same time, I jumped out of bed. I pulled back this curtain, which separates off the cab, so I could see out the windows. And sure enough, right by this door, there were 2 guys trying to break into my van.
Muffled voices, just inches away from the van's rear doors. Still groggy, he reached for the remote to activate his van's 4-camera CCTV system. What he saw confirmed his worst suspicion. 2 hooded men, semi-masked, standing directly next to his van. As he watched from the inside, they slowly moved from the back doors to the driver's side window, peering in, then circling the van again. One crouched near the side door and appeared to be fiddling with the handle, subtly, quietly, trying to avoid drawing attention. That was the tipping point. Ads, half dreaming about flatbreads and dolphins just minutes earlier, leapt from bed and shouted a single word, "Pigeon!" as he pulled back the curtain to confront whoever was outside. The 2 would-be thieves saw the movement and fled, disappearing into the dark of the motorway. Still shaken and unable to sleep, Ads packed up, drove to the next services, parked under floodlights close to the main building, and tried to salvage what little rest he could. But the story doesn't end there. The next day, after getting some distance, he transferred the CCTV footage from his security system and reviewed the entire sequence in full detail.
They go, alright, they've gone straight up to my driver's window and they're looking in it. I swear I heard them right behind the van though. So he's staring right in the driver's window, trying to see what he can see. I think he touched something there, did he? Okay, this is the point. So now they've gone round the back of the van. Now remember, at this stage, I'm still fast asleep, right? So let's pull up the back of the van. So enter the thieves around the rear of the van. They take a quick look at the back. One of them's smoking something. Maybe he's innocent. Maybe they were just smoking. I heard them. That's where I heard them talking. And I was sort of in a daze. And I was like, what is going on? They've gone back round to the other side of the van now. So let's pull that camera back up. Actually, no, it definitely wasn't innocent, because I remember I heard them actually touch the handle. Oh yeah, look, there we go. Right, he's bent down there. What's he doing? Yeah, he's trying to do something there. And that was where I shouted, "Pigeon!" Look at that. Right, let's just rewind that again. Right, so he's keeping an eye on that lorry that's leaving, and he's bent down doing something by my van. He must be trying to hide the fact that his hand's like touching the handle. But this is the point where I heard the handle go, and I'm half asleep, and I shout, "Pigeon!" And I rush up and I open up this curtain here, and then you can see as soon as I do that, he says something to his mate, and they scurper off. So if we go back to the front camera, we should, yeah, there we go. So that's them. As soon as they know that I'm in the van, they're now just disappearing off into the night, as though nothing's happened.
It confirmed everything he remembered, and more. From one angle, the two men are clearly seen walking toward the van, disappearing briefly around the back, then approaching the driver's window to peer inside. One of them bends down beside the door, clearly doing something with his hands, trying to stay out of sight, obscuring his hand movements while the other stands watch. It wasn't random. It wasn't just curiosity. They were attempting a break-in, likely hoping the van was empty and unmonitored. But they had no idea Ads was awake and filming. When he replayed the footage, he realized just how close he came to being robbed. Or worse. Had he not been alerted by the voices, or had he slept a little deeper, they may have gained entry. Whether they intended to steal items or take the entire van remains unknown. But as Ads pointed out, their focus on the side and front rather than the back suggested they weren't interested in breaking windows. They may have been trying to quietly hotwire the vehicle. After reliving the footage with his audience, Ads joked about finally being part of the van break-in club, though the experience left a lasting mark. It was the first time he truly felt vulnerable in his mobile home. But thanks to his quick thinking and built-in surveillance, a situation that could have spiraled out of control was stopped before it even started. What did you think of this encounter? Let me know your thoughts. Before moving to the next encounter, I just want to take this moment to thank and congratulate you all because we have crossed 50,000 subscribers. Our 50K special free surprise was revealed, and almost all of you seem to love it. I'm beyond blessed to have you as community, and I'm more committed than ever to bring you the best and most entertaining videos possible. I aim to take this channel to #1, and I will do that no matter what. So, subscribe and enjoy the show. Our next goal is 100,000 subscribers before August. Once we reach that, I'll reveal another awesome surprise for you all. Now back to the video. Uploaded to TikTok by creator Dua Lupe. This brief but disturbing clip was filmed during a trip to a remote cabin, where she and her family were celebrating her sister's birthday. While exploring the property, Lupe noticed another cabin deeper in the woods, one that looked abandoned. Curious and filming for her page, she decided to take a closer look. The video starts lightheartedly. Lupe walks up to the cabin, opens the door, and casually steps inside. There's no eerie buildup, just curiosity and casual narration.
Estoy quedando en una cabaña por el cumpleaños de mi hermana y enfrente hay como una cabaña así, como pero abandonada, chiquita. Y es como una casita del árbol, así como para niños, no sé. No sé, pero se ve muy tenebroso. No sé si se vaya a caer esto porque está como todo podrido. Y no veo como para encender las luces ni nada. Mira, allá está la cabaña. Y... no, no tiene luz. Hay como una mesa, hay ganchitos de ropa y televisor.
But within seconds of entering, something changes. She freezes briefly, then suddenly lets out a scream and sprints out of the cabin. The clip ends almost immediately after. At first, it's unclear what caused her reaction, but after the video gained traction, viewers pointed out something chilling. A face, barely visible, peeking out from behind the doorway just after she enters. It's easy to miss the first time, but once you notice it, the scene takes on an entirely different tone. The face is pale, still, and appears to be watching her. There's no movement or sound, just the quiet presence of someone, or something, hidden behind the door. Her scream doesn't seem performative. It's sharp and immediate, the kind of reaction that suggests real fear. Whether it was an actual person hiding in the cabin, or something more unexplained, the moment is deeply unsettling. No follow-up video was posted, and Lupe never returned to the location. Sometimes it's not about what's heard or said, but what's seen in a single frame. And in this case, that one frame might be all the proof you need. Up to Summit is a solo wild camping channel based in the UK, known for scenic overnighters in some of England's most rugged and breathtaking landscapes. The creator, a laid-back and practical adventurer, often films his hikes across the Lake District, offering detailed footage of his routes, gear, and meals, along with a healthy dose of solitude and self-reflection. But on a recent solo wild camp near Angletarn, just below Place Fell, he experienced something that even he couldn't explain. The hike in was long, but rewarding. Around 12 miles through open ridgelines and past dramatic lakes, all leading to a high perch above the tarn.
There is the tarn. You can see already someone down there and pitched some deer over there, I think. Probably can't make them out because they're quite far away, but look like deer. Yeah, they definitely are deer. There must be, I don't know, 20, maybe over. Absolutely loads of them. Just what I needed. But yeah, the two guys that are camping over there, it turns out they're actually subscribed to the channel, or one of them is, so shout out to you if that's you. Nice to meet you. I guess I'll let you off getting in the best spot just because you subscribed. Honestly, I just sat here, even though I'm just sat in my swimming trunks, it's not even that cold.
The weather had been mild, and the air, though crisp, hinted at the approaching spring. After choosing a spot with panoramic views of the surrounding hills, he set up his tent, cooked dinner, and even went for his first swim of the year. Cold, but refreshing. Everything about the day had gone right. As night fell, the peacefulness of the location settled in. The wind was calm, the stars were visible between gaps in the clouds, and the temperature dropped just enough to warrant bundling up. He slipped into his sleeping bag and began winding down, ready to drift off after a full day's hike. That's when he heard it.
Honestly, I'm just laid in my tent and I've just heard the weirdest noise go over ever. I don't even know what it was. I don't really want to look outside because I don't think I'd want to know what it was. It was definitely flying because it flew over, but it sounded almost like a sheep or like, I don't even know, something out of Star Wars. Never heard anything like it. I'm hoping it was just a weird sounding bird, but it sounded very strange.
From directly above the tent came a strange, high-pitched sound, fluttering and almost vibrating, moving fast across the sky. It didn't resemble an owl or a bat. It wasn't the flapping of wings or the whir of a passing drone. The closest comparison he could make was that it sounded like a sheep or a massive insect, something from a science fiction film. A surreal mix of a mechanical buzz and an animal call. Whatever it was, it moved overhead in a smooth, deliberate pass and vanished into the distance. The sound wasn't followed by movement. No rustling outside, no footsteps, just silence. He didn't want to look outside. Not because he was afraid of a person or a bear, but because, in his words, he didn't want to know what it was. Eventually, driven by curiosity and a bit of anxiety, he turned to research. Scrolling through audio samples and nature forums, he eventually found something that closely matched the sound.
So I've done a bit of research because honestly I was a bit nervous, like hearing that noise. It could have been like a flying sheep, or it sounded almost just like a really, really big fly, like huge, or some sort of mosquito. So I searched it up and it turns out it's a common snipe, I'm pretty sure. I'll stick in a little audio clip of what they sound like anyway, because it does sound like the strangest sound ever. Right, so it's 10:30 now and I'm honestly kind of tired, so I'm probably going to head off to bed. It has been a good day and a really nice pitch, so I'm hoping tomorrow night goes just as well.
Snipes are small wading birds, typically shy and elusive, but during their mating season they make a bizarre aerial display sound known as winnowing. The call isn't vocal. It's made by air passing over their tail feathers as they dive, creating a pulsing, whirring shriek that sounds nothing like a bird. Rare to hear at night and uncommon even in the day, it's one of those natural sounds that feels otherworldly without context. And while the logical explanation helped, it didn't change how it felt in the moment. For a solo camper, miles from the nearest house, surrounded by cold, dark hills and thick silence, the sound of something strange flying overhead with no warning feels anything but normal. By morning, the mood had shifted back to comfort. The sun rose over the tarn, lighting up the fells with a gold and blue. Breakfast was simple, pancakes and porridge with coffee, and the air began to warm. The night's experience, though still lingering, faded slightly with daylight. He packed up, left no trace, and started his hike out, but the story stayed with him. What did you make of this encounter? Like always, let me know your thoughts. Uploaded on October 25th, 2022, this video from the channel Exploration Unknown follows creator John on what begins as a solo exploration of an abandoned mansion deep in the Canadian woods. The building, known among locals as the Devil's Elbow, carries a reputation tied to occult activity and spiritual unrest. Over the years, rumors have circulated about the original owner's involvement in ritual practices, with locals claiming that strange gatherings, chanting, and offerings took place on the property for years. Since then, every attempt to renovate or repurpose the house has failed. John, known for pushing the limits of solo exploration, decides to investigate the home in the late afternoon.
This floor don't feel too great. I think it'll be okay. Ooh. Floor's a little sketchy. It's just the laundry room.
The building itself is massive, crumbling brick walls, shattered windows, and remnants of furniture still scattered across the property. The surrounding woods are thick and silent, and the isolation of the house is immediately unsettling. The inside tells a strange story. While the home is clearly abandoned, there are signs that someone recently attempted to live here.
There's the garage. There's a fairly new washing machine in here. And you can see all the material. They were definitely, someone has worked on this at some point.
Newer paint cans, modern appliances. It's as if someone started moving in and then left in a hurry. As he moves deeper inside, things begin to feel off. Objects creak without any wind. Doors groan softly, even though no one is touching them. And worst of all, John starts to get the creeping feeling that he's being watched. He calls out a few times, half hoping for a voice in return. But there's no answer, just silence. That changes quickly.
Okay, guys, I think I've been hearing stuff upstairs, but I'm hoping, and I mean this, I really hope that it's paranormal and not someone freaking in here. Hello? I'm not here to bother you. Is anybody in here? I thought I heard a man's voice. When I first came in here, it sounded like somebody walking up here. So sketchy. I mean, not structurally, just freaking terrifying. Good, nobody's in there. Hello? Door's locked.
While standing near the bottom of the staircase, he hears a sound that immediately freezes him in place. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, and coming from the upper floor. He waits, hoping it was something falling or shifting. Then, it happens again. A voice. A man's voice, muffled but undeniably real. It's not from outside. It's not from a spirit box. It's inside the house with him. John goes still, heart racing. The possibility of encountering a squatter, or worse, someone hiding intentionally, suddenly becomes very real. Still, he cautiously moves toward the sound, whispering to the camera that he thinks someone may be upstairs. The floor creaks beneath him, and the silence becomes oppressive.
Hello? Is there somebody here? I'm not here to bother or rob anything. I was just here exploring. I thought it was a band. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Oh, God, turn the light. Oh, my God. 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 Oh, God. Oh, there's somebody in the freaking house. Oh, yeah. Right here. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Back to that one. Okay. I don't know where to go. I'm parked down the road. I won't go. I won't get to the car. Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh my God, guys, I'm back to where I think I'm safe. Oh my God, I'm back to where I was parked at. Oh my God. That. Nobody's following me. I don't see anybody.
Something crashes, loudly. A door, a piece of furniture, something heavy and deliberate. That's the moment he decides he's done. John sprints out of the house through the main hallway and back out into the woods, camera still rolling. Breathless, he talks to the camera as he runs, barely able to get his words out. He doesn't stop until he's back at his car, parked just off the road, panting and visibly shaken. Only then does he reflect on what happened. There's a chance it could have been someone playing a prank or squatting in the house. But what makes this encounter more chilling is that John heard them but never saw them. No one followed him out. No one ran. There were no footsteps behind him. Whoever, or whatever, It was chose to remain unseen, the perfect way to instill fear without ever revealing themselves. John has explored dozens of abandoned places, some with heavy paranormal reputations. But in this case, the fear wasn't from the ghost stories or the legends of dark rituals. It came from the very real possibility that someone had been waiting inside the house, watching silently as he made his way room by room. He left the property physically unharmed, but mentally shaken. In his words, it was one of the first times he felt truly targeted, like his presence wasn't just discovered, it was expected. And whether it was paranormal, human, or something in between, whatever was in that house succeeded. It didn't need to show itself. It just needed him to know he wasn't alone. Dee is no stranger to the strange. Her channel, Dee's Dark Adventures, is built around solo night hikes into some of the most remote and allegedly haunted forests in North America. But unlike most who seek out the unexplained, she doesn't arrive with gear and bravado. She comes with offerings, trinkets, tokens, gratitude. She speaks softly to the woods, introduces herself by name, and always asks for permission to enter. On this night, though, it seems whatever lives in the forest wasn't just listening, it was responding. The location was one she had been eyeing for a while, a swampy, isolated woodland finally accessible after months of flooding. The trail was barely defined, the ground soft and uneven. Within minutes of entering, she came across something strange.
This is my footprint. I stood right next to it. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now look, it's square as can be. Look how thick. Look how thick that is. Now watch. Look at the water. They don't have a choice. They have no, I mean, they can do it, but we don't, I don't have a choice. No people have a choice. On, why did it do that? On, where they're walking, look at that. The water's right up to the edge there. It's from way over in there where I went to the island. And it's come all the way up almost to the road. Insane. So we're gonna look for some more footprints here. And I just wanted to show you that. That's one footprint that I've seen so far. I haven't seen any more. Whoop, 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 whoop. Another one right here, look. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another one. Get out of here. Look at that. Beautiful. So this is new. It's a couple hours old maybe. We keep walking. And it looks to be the right one. Wow, it's cold.
Large barefoot prints in the mud, deep, wide, and human-like, but too big to be hers. One set appeared recent, others looked layered, as if something had paced the area more than once. She hadn't even gone a quarter mile before the forest started watching. She pressed on, leaving small objects along the trail.
I have trinkets that I like to bring for you guys. And I'm going to leave this for you for being so sweet and let me pass. Right here. It lights up. I'm going to leave it right here. Movement. I brought this. Thank you for whoever sent these to my dogs. I brought one for this. I'm always afraid to pass under these. I never know if it's a portal or not. It's an X. All right. Oh. Did you hear that? this make the water go crazy? Listen.
Coins, trinkets, marbles, gifts for whatever might be there. In return, she began to hear things. Sticks breaking, echoing wood knocks, and movement pacing her from both sides of the trail. It wasn't imagined. It wasn't subtle. Something was matching her pace, shifting through brush just outside the glow of her flashlight. She tried to stay calm, announcing her presence again, reminding the forest she meant no harm. But the atmosphere changed. The air got colder. Her breath became visible despite the mild weather. She scanned the woods around her. Figures moved between trees.
Oh, dude. Don't come out at me. Don't come to the sides. Here, look, I got something for you. Whoa, whoa, wee, whoa. Check this out. I'll leave this for you. You can have that. Huh. Tree knock. Okay, we're walking. We're walking. Hello. Hi, my name's Dee.
One to her left, another to the right. She caught a shadow duck behind a trunk. She wasn't alone, not even close. She turned to leave, still speaking aloud. Then she heard it.
Oh, man. There's the water going again. What was that? There's babies. I just heard a hiss when I turned back. I don't think it was a goose. And I did hear babies.
A child's voice, just for a second, high-pitched, faint, and behind her. That was it. She broke into a run, stumbling over roots, sloshing through puddles, water splashing underfoot as she tried to retrace her steps. Even then, the sounds kept following. More cracking branches, footsteps behind her, breath she could hear but couldn't see. When she finally reached the trailhead and her truck came into view, the relief was visible. She'd made it out, but even in the truck, the fear hadn't left her. She knew she had been surrounded, watched, shadowed, not by coyotes or deer, but by something else. Something intelligent and possibly ancient. Like always, I'll let you draw your own conclusions to this encounter as well. Posted on April 18th, 2025, this video comes from the channel Franco Travels, which takes us on a high-altitude exploration through the remote Chilean mountains. An adventure that starts with curiosity and ends with unsettling discoveries. Franco, a solo explorer known for traveling into strange and often dangerous locations, was tipped off about an abandoned hotel in the Andes with a dark past. Though the exact story was unclear, the local rumor was simple: don't stay past sundown. The journey begins at nearly 7,000 feet above sea level. Along the steep, narrow roads leading up to the site, Franco passes roadside graves, makeshift memorials for travelers who lost their lives to the treacherous mountain curves. What he finds is more than just a single structure. There are multiple abandoned cabins, scattered and partially hidden in the trees. Inside them, he discovers signs of life, or at least past lives.
Oh, look. My family plays this game a lot. I think this is it. Dominoes. Isn't that cool? Look at this. There's a lot of... I know it's a kitchen, but this actually makes me nervous in case I do run into somebody. All it takes is something like that, or like this, to nick an artery. And you can tell it's been used a lot, and they broke the tip of the handle. I'm more than sure that people sleep here. Look, oh my God. What do you think about this? There's knives everywhere. Look at this one. And there's another knife over here.
Boots, expensive jackets, dominoes, toothbrushes, and soap. One cabin is filled with knives, each of them rusted and scattered as if discarded in a hurry. In another, he finds drug baggies and clothing tossed across the floor. Some cabins appear to have been lived in recently. Others feel untouched but staged, as if waiting for someone to return. He moves from one room to the next, describing the strange mix of survival gear and personal items. Some of the cabins have heaters made from barrels, makeshift beds, and even Sonic the Hedgehog Xbox games, left behind among the decay. All of this is taking place beside the Andes mountain range, in one of the most remote areas he's ever filmed in. Soon after, he discovers a cabin that looks freshly locked, its door newer than the others. He chooses not to enter, whether it belongs to someone currently living off-grid or something worse. He knows not to test it, but it's what's deeper inside the last building that truly unsettles him.
Random chair. That's creepy though. I think this reminds me of Peru when I was kind of exploring the cemetery there. And some person was just sitting on a chair in the middle of a graveyard. Sometimes you look at the ground and you could put together a story of what people were doing here just by looking at the environment. Sometimes you can see what looks like foul play, like a crime that took place.
Down a rotting staircase, he finds a collapsed floor, with only narrow beams to step on. Below is a dark basement, cold, silent, and filled with an eerie energy. Just above it, a random chair placed in the middle of the room, facing nothing. It reminds him of a past exploration in a Peruvian cemetery, where he once saw a similar chair in the middle of a graveyard with no explanation. There's no blood, no visible sign of violence, but everything about the scene feels wrong. When he finally makes his way out, he decides to call it. The sun is down, the temperature has dropped below freezing, and he's alone in the mountains with nothing but gear and instinct. Whatever happened in those cabins, whatever may still happen, he doesn't want to be there when night fully settles in. There are no jump scares, no sudden shadow figures, just the oppressive, overwhelming feeling that something terrible once happened here and maybe still does. With this final encounter comes the end of another episode. You know what to do, but if you don't, let me remind you again to like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment about what you liked and didn't like about this video. We always look to improve our video quality so you get the best videos possible. In about 3 seconds, there will be more disturbing videos on screen for you to watch. And with that, I'm out.